1,000 years as one day. Is that to be taken literal or in a figurative sense? Now, where does this come from, the 1,000 years is one day? Well, it comes from the Bible. And I'd like to read from the New International Version. It says the first account, it says that in the Bible, is in Psalms chapter 90, verse 4. It says, 1,000 years in your sight are like a day that has gone by, are like a watch in the night. So that's also quoted in Peter, the book of 2 Peter, chapter 3, verse 8. Trying to find that. Okay, here it is. Sorry. It says, but do not forget this one thing, dear friends, with the Lord, a day is like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years are like one day. It's very interesting because there are religions that teach that it's actual literal. It's a literal time where God is, again, his time is different than humankind. It most certainly is. You look at, again, those scriptures, back then, did they have numbers that would go up to Googleplex or bigger? Now, they just didn't want to sit there like a Googleplex number of years is one day, which very well could be in God's time. Now, because if you think about it, imagine this is eternity. I know this is not eternity, obviously, but imagine this in somewhere in the realm of eternity. It's everlasting, endless. So just a small speck of time is 1,000 years versus the rest of eternity. It's a drop in the bucket. It's nothing. It's like a needle in a haystack that stretches from here to another galaxy. So really, and we don't know the nature of time. I mean, there could be it may take forever to get to a Googleplex number of years. I mean, you may never ever reach that time. But to say 1,000 years as one day is really, it's not, in my opinion, it's figurative. It's not a literal sense because it's saying God's time is so much different than ours that He can accomplish His will. I'm not talking about Watchtower's will. I'm talking about the will that He's eventually going to accomplish, and it very well could be here on Earth, because the Bible will still be fulfilled whether the Watchtower is around or not. So, in my opinion, 1,000 years, it very well could be a day. 1,000 years could very well be a day. I'm sorry for digressing here. I got some other things that I'm going over here at the same time. But we don't know the exact time that God experiences. Before, we can only speculate. Like I say, 1,000,000 years could be one day, 1,000,000,000 years could be one day. I think it's really figuratively saying a large number of a big number in a number of years could be minute, because and a lot of people will say, well, what about Judgment Day? Judgment Day, like I'm bringing up the Watchtower's example. They say Judgment Day, the 1,000-year reign, and 1,000 years is one day through that because it's Judgment Day. And that really, it's not. Again, it's not a literal sense. I believe it's more figurative. To sit there and say God is limited to 1,000 years is one day is just kind of in a way ludicrous. Because what is God? He's eternity to eternity. He had no beginning, has no end. That's what the Bible says. So to sit there and say, well, 1,000 years is one day, maybe he does perceive 1,000 years as one day for our benefit, so they can rotate, or he needs to perceive a time, that certain time, in order to let that earth, or let the planets align. You just think of the remarkable things that go on planet Earth, even how fast we rotate around the sun, and how fast the planet Earth is going around at this very instant. And without a divine creator, or a divine being to make this Earth go about, is, in my opinion, it'd be basically impossible. You know, there is some intelligent creator out there, and I think you have to even look at it as just the way the Earth is, how it's, the mass of the Earth is suspended on nothing. You look at this, and you look at the sun, our sun, one of many stars. Our sun's a star, many stars throughout the galaxies, and the universe that we don't even know about. We probably only even found out maybe 1 or 2% of the stars that are visible to us. I mean, however much there is. But it's just incredible, but getting back to, again, 1,000 years is one day. And short answer, I'd say it's figurative, because again, God is able to perceive time any way he wants to, or any way he needs to. And maybe he does perceive 1,000 years as one day, not because he's limited, but because how he maybe needs to sustain life. Maybe perhaps 1,000 years is one day to God, because that way he can accomplish his sustaining life on planet Earth. The sun needs to rotate. He knows the exact fraction of a second for him to have the power to have our planets align in our very own solar system. Just be able to have that right amount of gravity and the gravitational pull to affect it's way over my head. I'm certainly not it's hard to comprehend the length of time, and we don't give it enough thought, I don't think. Certainly a million years could be one day, and a billion years could be one day. He's not limited by time. So to sit there and say 1,000 years is one day, is because he's limited? No. And it very well could be literal, but I'm leaning towards it's figurative, because who knows, eons ago he could have perceived time differently. So that's all I really wanted to share. I hope you got something out of this video. So if you want to subscribe, go ahead, and if you don't, leave a comment or leave a like. It'd really be appreciated. So thank you very much for your time, and you have a nice day. Thanks.